Welcome back to Fast and the Curious, and today we are watching Fast and Curious 6.
Are there no thes? Is it just?
Is it?
Curious? I have no idea.
I think at this. Well, I don't know.
I'm just making these more difficult for you.
I'm gonna let's check it out really quick.
Okay. Important issues of the day.
Well, you want to make sure you get this stuff right.
Yeah.
It is just called Fast and Furious
Okay,
6.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
Gotcha.
we've reached the point. Well, we've been in the point of the series where thes don't matter anymore.
Yes.
And this is the height of it, the height of the hating. So I'm going to assume that Brian comes out and decides that the is no longer. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
You blame Brian for everything on this show.
Well, he is kind of the protagonist, if you will.
So everything's his fault.
Yeah, that's kind of how that works in movies, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
We're kind of nearing the end of the
For now.
of the long thing. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, there's gonna be more.
Yeah, we'll be back here in 2 years for.
But we're getting there. We're on the home stretch.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to think about this one. I have like an idea of like 7, but this one I'm just kind of like, I assume that it's just gonna kind of like lead us to 7, but maybe not. Maybe it's like the rest of them where they kind of just are their own standalone thing.
I guess I'll leave that for you to see.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like I said at the end of the last one, I'm looking forward to rewatching this one because I think it's in my like top 3 or 4 of these whole movies. So I like this one from what I remember.
It's got a good movie poster, so
yeah,
it's nice.
It has an awesome fucking opening with the at least awesome to me with the this is the beginning of them starting to use Wiz Khalifa in every fucking movie.
Okay.
Although I don't think they did with this last one. I think they have forsaken Wiz Khalifa in favor of.
So he's not in every movie as much as he's in 2.
2 of them. Yeah. Well, okay. For a while there, it felt like it was becoming a thing where every movie, like the promotional song for the movie had Wiz Khalifa in it.
Okay.
So. Forgive me.
Well, if I'm gonna make my always very accurate shot in the dark here,
yes,
I'm gonna say that this is the one, not the one before, but this is the one where maybe they're helping work with The Rock as like they're trying to take down some baddie, and they're like, and The Rock's like, I know some people we can get. And he talks to Vin Diesel.
They're just bored and want to take out. Vin Diesel's like, I want to take out baddies. Like, that's what this is. Like, nothing better to do.
Yeah, well, why not? Because now that they're like, at the end of the last one, they're like, all right, that was our last job, or that was our last job, and so now they're like,
we're bored.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe for a common enemy, they're like, you know what? The world needs us. The world needs street racers.
And don't we? Isn't that true?
Yeah.
We do.
I mean, I've often said, many people have said, and I agree with them, that that's the biggest problem with today's world.
We just don't have enough street racers.
There's just not enough street
Every
racing.
problem can be solved if you go fast enough.
I mean, if I've learned anything from these movies, it's that all those racing scenes end in conflict and end in resolution, or begin in conflict and end in resolution. So
yes. So they resolve every problem.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
With all that being said, I suppose we should just watch the movie and find out what happens.
Yeah, probably.
I'm sure my version's going to be better, but, whatever.
Your version.
See you later.
I love the bit of he just chucking the pen at the camera. I don't know where that came from. It's like Scott Hall-esque.
And we're back. And so is Chris.
Yep.
And how about that post-credit scene?
Yeah. So I'm glad that made an impression on you because that is one of my favorite theater going experiences of my entire life.
Yeah.
Because when I saw this movie in theaters, like it became evident at that scene, at the post-credits bit, that I was in a room full of fans of the franchise. Because what happens is the scene opens up and we're back in Tokyo and we see that it's replaying the Han, Sean, and DK chase. And the audience kind of like, it's like, oh, like there's like this like audible, like almost like groan because it's like, don't make us watch this sad shit again. And then when they revealed that like through shit that you have no way of understanding, like how the fuck is this possible at this time, like that this Jason Statham character was like secretly like we didn't know, but it was responsible directly for Han's death. And then like the theater's just kind of like, oh, like, and like, this is a really cool like big reaction that like the whole theater had. And like I just remember being so fucking excited. Like it helped that other people were excited too, but I personally was so excited because like we talked about before, that's a death that to fans of the franchise means a lot. And then to reveal like there's a new character, he killed Han. It wasn't just like a traffic accident caused by the race, and he's played by another character famous for car movies. Like that to me was really, really exciting. Like taking in someone from other franchises in the same genre and be, all right, now he's gonna face off against your characters with a really good reason to do so.
Yeah.
That was really fucking exciting to me. Now your mileage may vary when we get to the next one, whether you think they deliver on that or not. Because I personally was a little let down. Like after I saw this movie, I was like, fuck yes, I am so fucking hyped for 7. And then once I got there, it ended up being redeemed by other things, but I'll let you make up your mind.
That wasn't a good payoff necessarily, or in your opinion it wasn't?
Yeah, it wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be. But we'll get there.
That's what, because so when they start showing that scene, I thought there's no way they're just gonna like go, and by the way, you remember he dies. Like, you know, like, so that's what I was thinking, like, that maybe they were going to do something where he wasn't like a cop out where he wasn't actually dead or something.
That would have sucked. I would have hated that.
Well, and that's kind of what I was like, oh, well, all right. And then, but yeah, so that was like the best way that could have ended there. Mm-hmm. And it's like the first time that a movie's actually led into the next one.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I had to keep my mouth shut when you brought that up earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that's like of all the hooks to try to get you back for the next one, I think that's a really, really effective one.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Han stuff, like there was little details in this one that I noticed that I hadn't before, in that like they built this little Han and Giselle relationship, and I don't think very many of us cared about it.
Yeah,
I didn't. I don't know if
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it's not like
it wasn't
bad,
anything
but like
special.
It's just kind of there. But what I realized was that they do that because then her dying is what propels him to finally go to Tokyo instead of just saying like, oh, someday I'd like to go. Like once he like, I don't have this person anymore, and we were gonna go together. Like I just need to go be there. Yeah, and that's what leads him to his eventual fate. Like I feel like that's a nice little. It gives a nice reason other than just like, well, I'm done heisting, time to go to Tokyo. Like, I guess like it's a good thing they put that in there to give him some reason to wind up where he does.
Well, you know, it's just like they said at the end of the movie. It was like, it's just something he's got to do because he died in one of the previous movies that actually takes place in the future. So it doesn't make sense if he never goes to Tokyo.
Yeah. I love it. I love that.
But yeah. I was making the joke when we were watching it that it's Fast and Furious 6, The Winter Soldier. But I mean, it's not like that movie invented the amnesia storyline or whatever. But I mean, it's just that's like the most recent frame of reference. But I really liked it. I thought it was coul.
The Winter Soldier storyline or the movie as a whole?
I like the Winter Soldier was a really good movie, and this one was pretty solid too. But no, I liked that storyline. I thought that was I thought it was like an interesting, like, the thing, for better or worse, what I've been impressed by with these movies is that they don't really make the same movie twice.
That's true.
So it's like, even if maybe like, you know, there's some that are kind of like duds or whatever, at least they're trying something different.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. That even like I'm like #1 defender on the front line of these movies, and I've never even like thought about that as like a point of like quality. Like that's right, because like when you think of a franchise like this, a lot of times you think that they're the same thing over and over again. And like to an extent, sure, like there's fucking cars and stunts and explosions and whatever. But you're right, they have different like angles on it every time.
Yeah. So that's why I thought that was just like an interesting way to go with it, of like this, you know, this character that you thought was dead is back, and they're actually working for the enemy now. And I like to say that I was kind of right with them teaming up with The Rock to go fight a baddie.
It's weird because it's like it's kind of soap opera-y, but like there are moments in it that I think make it work. Like, as much as I like the characters, you never really think of Dom and Letty as being this like prototypical like movie romantic pairing.
Yeah.
But the scene where he's like reciting back to her like he's just like, you know how I drive, but you don't know me, and he just fucking rattles off all the things, like that kind of works. Like I kind of like care about them as like a unit, and like the scenes when they're about to race, and like she just like to him, he's just like, oh, this is this guy that like has been following me around and I shot him and he just keeps coming back. But to him, it's like, I'm gonna win my girl back and make her remember me. Like I don't know, that stuff kind of works for me in a weird soap opera-y action movie way. Like I like it.
Does the strange racer leader saying we're in London and we're used to getting what we want, but remember, don't bite the bait. Does that work for you?
Has no bearing on anything whatsoever, and I don't know where that came from.
When you search on Google, you type in "don't bite the bait," it autofills to meaning in Fast and Furious 6.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Really?
So a lot of people are going like,
Damn.
what the fuck does that mean?
That's funny. I didn't know anyone else besides us would like latch onto that. That was like, it was great. He got me like the second she started. Well, you pointed out it's weird that she's talking.
Yeah.
Like the race about to start, like, hold on, guys. Like, let me give a weird speech that doesn't make any contextual sense.
Yeah. Well, it's like character that has nothing to do with anything, too.
Yes.
It's not even like, it's like we were introduced as like, this is the person who's setting up the races, and now like blah, 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 blah. And now we're back to this. It's
I almost wonder if she's maybe some sort of like British celebrity, and if they were going to cast her, they had to give her lines, and they just gave her something weird to say. I don't know. I have no idea.
Like she's some pop star or something. That she's
we've
like,
never heard of.
I have a line I'm going to say.
Yeah. I have no idea, but that would be my best guess, I guess. But speaking of characters that don't mean anything, one of the things that I like about this movie is that
none of the characters mean anything.
No, it's a really simple little thing. Like the scene itself, I like anyway, where Roman goes down the screens of Shaw's crew, and he's like, we're basically hunting down our evil twins. Like this guy is like, this is White Hobbs. This is whatever. Like whatever. Like that's a cutesy little like comic relief scene on its own. But then I feel like it really helps because then it gives the other bad guys in the movie more of an identity.
Yeah. Then
all the scenes where they're fighting them mean a little bit more. And I feel like that goes a long way for me. I don't know how it worked for other people, but like even just having it be like, oh, like that's the guy that they said is their Han. That's the guy they said is their Roman. Like that makes me feel like it matters more when they fight them, as opposed to like, oh, there's the bad guy that like I don't know his name. He looks generic. He just works for the guy that they're after.
Yeah.
Like it gives those scenes a little bit more oomph to me. So I liked that element of it. I fucking love the flip cars that Shaw's crew drives in this. They're fucking awesome. Like that's like the coolest. I love car movies, but that's like one of the coolest like car movie innovations like ever. Like
they're
just
like giant go-karts.
It's such a weird idea that someone came up with. It's like little go-karts that are just angled, so when they drive, they fucking flip cars off of them. It's awesome. Like it's really fucking cool. But it leads to what I think is, to me, one of the biggest missed opportunities in cinematic history. So follow me here. This has been stuck in my craw since goddamn 2013 when this fucking movie came out. I hate it. It drives me fucking crazy. There's that great thing in the beginning where they're introducing the fucking flip cars, the ramp cars or whatever, and Brian gets fucking taken out by the girl driving it. Like she fucking wrecks his shit. And he flips over and he's like upside down, and she drives by him and winks. Then later he fucking figures out a way to trick her with the car, and he ramps over backwards and she wipes out, and he drives by her and nothing. I swear to God that needed him winking back at her. Didn't it?
Oh yeah.
That would have been so fucking good. If he would have pulled back and like done the wink back to her. I feel like it's fucking criminal that they didn't do that. Like it's like the smallest little thing, but it fucking really bothers me because I feel like that would have been satisfying.
Yeah.
And it's right there. It's not
maybe
even
a nice
like
finger guns.
It's not even like, oh, like she crashes far away, so it wouldn't make sense. Like he fucking goes right by the car. They could have just added like one little scene where it's just like wink and then they drive by. Like I feel like that would have been fucking good, but I don't know. That's my hill to die on with this movie. But speaking of hills to die on with this movie, speaking of like the theater experience as well, the other thing that I remember from seeing this in a theater was the bridge jump scene. Everyone fucking groaned, and not in the way I described earlier where it's like, oh, we're emotionally invested.
Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, really? Like, fuck this. Like, and at the time I was like, you know what these movies are. Like, everyone fucking calm down. But like, watching back, like, it is fucking absurd. Like, do you remember the scene I'm talking about?
No.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
For you and the audience that maybe didn't see it, there's a scene. There's like two like bridge highway deals going opposite ways.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. Now I know what you're talking about.
Letty's getting flung off a tank on this side. Dom jumps off of his speeding car over the gap between the bridge, tackles her out of the air, and flies and lands on the windshield of a car on the other side. It's the most cockamamie horseshit in any of these movies. And I've come to peace with it. It deserved the fucking whole theater groan that it got.
I don't think it's any worse than in like the opening scene of Fast and Furious.
I think it is.
Fast and Furious.
I think it is. I was thinking about that one too. Like that one is at least like somewhat within the realm of physics. Like this is like just so many elements of like impossibility that I just like I can't. You just can't. Like
he does do a bit of a Superman jump.
Superman jumps, times it perfectly to catch her, jumps far enough to then propel them both to the other side, then land like safely onto a car that happens to be speeding down the. There's just too many factors. You can.
I guess part of it is he's using like the force of the car to like launch him as well.
Yeah.
It's not completely like, oh, I'm gonna jump. Like,
it's still, dude, it's so over the top. I think maybe it's a first time viewing thing because I was the same way. I was like, it's not that big a deal. It's fine. Like, but watching it back is okay. Oh, and the other thing that
I mean, it's totally goofy, but it just, it's I don't know.
The other thing that this movie gets a lot of shit for is that the final action stuff takes place on the longest runway of all time.
Yeah.
like
100%.
It's really, really long, and it's just for like a plane supposedly taking off.
Oh, is it? There's another one. Oh, like when they're hijacking the Caravan, and they use that like the wire that they shoot across.
Yeah.
And like one car hits it, and then it takes like 30 seconds for the Caravan truck that's immediately behind it to hit it. It's like another one of those things that you're like, wait, what the fuck?
Really? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's like the car hits it, and then you see like that the Caravan's about to hit it, and then they do like a cut, and the Caravan's farther back again,
really?
and it's like, I
didn't see that one.
It's like all sorts of just like wonky in that like one like little spot.
I was distracted by the wire then cutting open the Caravan and revealing a tank.
Yeah,
on the
that
inside.
was pretty great too.
Yeah. But that's again, like, there's a weird line that you can and can't cross with these movies. Like that tank thing was acceptable to me. That was on the right side of the line. It's like, all right, cool. Like, I'm in for this. Like,
yeah.
And especially because I feel like they sell it properly. Like Tedge's face, he's just like, we need a new plan because they have a fucking tank. Like, it felt okay to me, even though it is totally fucking ridiculous.
I was thinking about that as we were watching this. We watched Wonder Woman earlier.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, not that the tank doesn't mean anything in Wonder Woman, like, because it's a big part, but she's like kind of mowing down so many things that you're not necessarily too hung up on the tank.
I think that the tank is meaningless because I don't remember there being a tank.
Okay,
what scene are you talking
like
about?
When she first goes and like rushes the town, she's like, I'm going to save these people. And she goes in, and maybe I'm remembering it wrong too, but I feel like there's a tank in that scene that's like, that's going after her, and she uses like her shield to like block it or something. And
maybe I just don't remember.
Either way, that even if I'm completely off base about that kind of idea though is that you see tanks in a ton of movies, and they made such a fucking big deal about the fact that there was a tank that it's like you're like, all right, cool, like there's a tank. Like instead of normally it's like, oh yeah, and there's a tank in the background like going by, and
And that reminds me of another strength that I think this movie has is that, to me at least, I can't speak for anybody else, I think that it's a welcome change of pace from the last movie in which I felt like I didn't understand people's motivations. I didn't understand why things were happening, and I just felt like some of the scenes were just kind of boring. This one, I feel like I always knew why they were doing what they're doing. I always knew why they were where they were going, and then I also thought that like they did a good job of making every little scene leading up to things somewhat interesting. So like, instead of just like, oh, we've got to go find out who knows where he is. It's like, oh, it's Braga from 2 movies ago, and Brian has to go get into prison, like where he has to go, like, like there's little bits of intrigue in every scene. I'm like, ooh, okay, that's kind of fun. Like the tank, or Brian going to prison, or even just like the small one of Han and Roman getting their asses kicked together in like the subway when they're trying to chase down the one guy. Like there's little bits in every little scene that makes it feel like, okay, we're like moving along at like a good pace where you're not losing my interest too much. Whereas I feel like in 5 there were times where I was like, I don't get why this is happening, and I'm not that interested in what's happening, so I'm just kind of checked out. I feel like they do a better job of that in this one. And like I said, I feel like the characters are stronger in this one.
It's definitely the whole cast is just better in this one than they are in 5.
Yeah. Maybe that takes some getting used to, even as actors. Like I mentioned in the last episode that I thought it was like the writer, but maybe it's the actors too. Maybe they have to like find their chemistry and whatever. And I like that too. Speaking of their chemistry, this movie it takes efforts to pair characters together that haven't shared screen time together alone. Like Hobbs and Tej, like The Rock and Ludacris go off on a thing together, and then Han and Roman are on a thing together, and like they kind of mix up the groupings a little bit, which is fun too. But yeah, what else? I like that they tease you in the beginning where you think we both thought it was like just Brian and Dom racing again, but it turns out they're racing to the hospital so Brian's kid can be delivered. That's like a nice little opening scene.
Yeah.
I told you on the pre-show, I fucking love the opening cinematic where they show all the clips from the previous movies. That shit gives me like goosebumps every time just because I'm a big dork for this shit. But yeah, I guess that's part of why I like this one so much is there's so many nods to like the series as a whole. So for example, there's that whole thing. Then there's them coming back to the house at the end, which we haven't seen since the first movie.
Yeah.
I felt like that was really rewarding. And then also they reference in this movie, I forgot about this, they reference the fact that they go a little meta, and Dom and Brian are sitting around, and it's like, this is cool and all, but it's not home. And Dom's like, everything's changed. Like, would we even recognize it? And like, everything's different now. And then Roman says at one point after they deal with the ramp cars and shit, it's like, this isn't us. Like, this isn't what we do. This is too much. This is too big. Like, I just feel like there's little references in here where it's like, yeah, we know the series is changing a lot from where you started, but hopefully you still like it. Like, I feel like this is the movie where they address that. They like acknowledge it a little bit for the viewer.
Definitely.
Which I like.
Do you know you can rent that house?
Really?
Yeah. It's like someone owns it. Because I was listening to a podcast with one of the producers of Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
And he was saying how much he wished he had bought that house when they made the first movie, because now that neighborhood's really nice, and that house is they like the people who own that house kept it the way it is in the movie.
That's fucking awesome. I love
so
that
that they can go back and film there and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's like it's surrounded by like really nice stuff, and so it's like a super expensive house now.
Yeah.
But you can go and rent it out for like a weekend and stay at like the Fast and Furious house.
That just got added to my bucket list along with going to like the Shire in New Zealand where they did like the Lord of the Rings shit. Like that's thank you for sharing that with me because I need to fucking do that.
And hopefully the fridge is like just stocked full of Coronas too.
Just constantly.
That's the good second step there.
Yeah. I guess we talked about last time, the villain in this one. He's not super standout either, but I think he works better than the last one.
Oh, he's 100% better than the last one. I don't know. I thought he was a good villain.
I felt like on my first viewing, he had more of a presence than I felt like he did on this viewing. Like there's little things that are interesting about it. I guess maybe just because his performance is so like reserved and subtle that like I feel like he's just kind of there this time. But like I do remember the first time thinking he was a pretty like memorable villain. I like the bits where he has this weird like respect and admiration for them, even though they're like opposing forces. Like he continually like references that. And they don't do a ton with it, but I also kind of like, I guess, the scene where he's like randomly mowing down civilians and laughing, and Letty's just like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like that, I guess, gives us a window into him being like weird and fucked up.
Well, and I think like, you know, the part in the movie where you think that like everything's kind of wrapping up and you realize that, wait, there's like, this is kind of short. And then you find out that he like had this whole like plan B in case he got caught.
Yeah.
Like ready to go. Like, I don't know. I think that's
true.
That's some interesting stuff where he has like Mia kidnapped and.
Yeah. And you just made me like that scene more too, because I like that you're right. It is that he had a plan B if he gets caught, and not the trope we see in a lot of movies in the last like 5 years or 10 years where it's, I meant to get caught because it's part of my plan. Like I'm really over that. Like, I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of that in like big movies like this, like Loki does it. I think the dude in Skyfall does it. There's just that's been done a lot, and I like that you're right that he doesn't mean to get caught, but he thought ahead to in case he did, then he could get out of it in this way.
So it makes him a criminal mastermind, Chris.
Yeah. We missed the movie somewhere along the line where they introduced when they first uttered the word family, because this one they are full in on that. They double down on the family concept in this one. They say it. I'm not sure which gets said more in this movie, family or The Rock saying some bitch. Those both happen a fuckload in this movie.
I like that he said guarantee it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. I also like, just to go off on a tangent, I like that Hobbs trimmed his goatee because it looked so shitty in 5. That like weird like billy goat thing he had going on.
I didn't even notice.
It was like longer.
Yeah, I can think of what you're talking about, but yeah.
And like this is a much better facial hair look for him.
It's more functional, as they say in the movie.
Yes. But yeah, I thought they do the family thing in the first one, don't they?
I mean, I'm sure that they like, I don't know, do they? All I know is that I recently learned that Vin Diesel improvised the line "fam." Like when he very first says something about them being a family, it was an improvised line because he didn't like what was on the page, and then they like just ran with it, and that's like what everyone knows about the series now. It's like, oh, family. So like, I don't know where that is, but it's somewhere in there that he just says it once, and then somewhere through the rest of the movies, we wind up in this movie where it's family.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know.
I mean, you can't turn your back on family,
It's
Chris.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
And ride or die.
Yeah.
I feel like we missed the moment though where they started really like digging their heels in on family.
I don't remember it being a ton in 5,
I don't think
but
so
I feel like
either.
it was in Fast and Furious.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like that's like maybe when they first like
Like Letty was family. Let's go do this,
yeah,
whatever, something like that. And Letty, this movie, like she's a big part of this movie, obviously, because it's the reveal that she's not dead, which I'm happy to stop having to try to hide that from you, that she's coming back. I distinctly remember in the fourth one that I said on the thing that I wanted to talk about the way they handle that in that movie once we've gotten to this.
Okay.
But now I've completely forgotten everything I was going to say. I think it was just that you can tell that they didn't really know what was going on with Letty, or they knew she was going to come back because everything feels so inconsequential in that one. We talked about how her death doesn't feel like it means anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's because they either didn't have a plan or they knew she was coming back all along, but they didn't really know like details or something. Like they just, the fact that you're supposed to buy that she's dead and gone and that it matters doesn't really work in that one.
Yeah.
And now I can like, you talk about the fact that like, you know, like it's because it didn't actually fucking happen. But she's actually gone on record lately, like recently, and said that she's thinking about, like she said she's going to have to consider leaving the franchise if they don't start developing better roles for the women in the series, which I think is totally fair.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. Because, well, she has the best role.
Yes,
of all
100% of the women.
And it's not even necessarily that great.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah.
I mean, like
everybody else is kind like all the other women in the series are just kind of side characters.
Yeah, even Mia, which is the next best after Letty. But yeah, like Letty gets to like participate in the action. She has a personality. We know who she is. We care about her. So yeah, she definitely has the best of it. But I could see where Michelle Rodriguez would still be unsatisfied with that, and also wanting better for the rest of the cast because a lot of the other female characters are pretty much just like window dressing. Like, even
well, and it would be if she wanted to take that stand, she would be the one to take that stand because she has the most pull.
She's the most important
of all
one
of them.
Yeah.
But if they did kill her off, which would be a kind of a shitty thing to do, it's like, well, fuck you then. But if they did kill her off, I feel like no one would buy it then. They would just
because they already did it once, or even if we buy it, it probably wouldn't matter because it wouldn't mean anything. But yeah, I think that's interesting. I hope that they like listen to her on that. Honestly, I think that one of the reasons I think this movie appeals as wide as it does is that their lineup of characters is diverse. Yeah, and everyone can see like someone that looks like them in that lineup. And like the next step from that is, okay, let's take it just from like oh, hey, there's somewhat of my like racial background on screen. Now let's make it to where they're a more compelling personality on screen and they have more to do and whatever. Like I think that's the next step in like capitalizing on that. So,
well, and like I was saying, with all these movies being so different, like there's no reason that you couldn't have one where it's more of Letty's mission or whatever.
Yeah, and especially if you're
gonna try focused more on her.
Especially if you're gonna try to milk 2 more movies out of this fucking thing, like at least because they talked about going to 10 and then doing maybe spin-offs. Like
so like
there's absolutely no reason you can't focus more attention on people other than I feel like even in these last couple, even Brian takes a backseat to Dom at times.
Yeah, I think in this one, a lot of the movie he's in the backseat, honestly. But that's what I'm saying. Is there's no reason that you couldn't do something where like, you know, I mean, even probably something a little more interesting than just like flipping the roles of like Dom's captured or whatever and Letty needs to go get him or whatever. But you know, just anything like that. I mean, I'm not here to write their script for them, but you know, you I'll
take a job.
There's plenty of ways you could do it.
Yeah.
You know, and make it interesting.
Yeah. No, I think Chris Morgan's doing a decent job. I don't want to take his spot by any means, but we can help.
I wish everything didn't have spin-off movies.
I agree.
I wish we could just have the movies.
Yeah, I'm with you. And like this is another tangent, but I heard today that Emilia Clarke recently confirmed that she's not going to be involved in any Game of Thrones spin-offs. Like once it's done for her.
Yeah.
And I really like that approach to movies and TV. Like anything, just like let things end.
Yeah. Well, and like there's a lot of rumors now that like they're going to start doing that with Bond, that they're going to do like the Bond cinematic universe.
Who else would even be
like, you know, focus on like a different 00 agent or stuff like that.
Well, okay, let me rephrase.
Do like
that could be interesting, but I don't want it ultimately. Like I want to keep what we've got with those.
My argument for that was that if the other 00 agents were interesting, the movie wouldn't be called James Bond 007.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a reason that they're about 007 because he's the cool one. But
I agree.
Either way, whatever. That's a tangent.
Yeah.
But so I think this was a pretty strong Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, I really really like this one. There are still things that I take issue with, like that last stretch with the plane stuff is really long.
Yeah,
like that starts to feel like all right, like
that could have got trimmed.
We don't need all of this. And there's a little bit of the stuff in there where it's really over the top and whatever. And there's I like the tradition we've kept up where we talk about the most cringeworthy line in every movie on this. So let's give some fucking props to, aren't you Team Muscle? Well, don't make me come over there and make you Team Pussy.
Yeah, that was...
Because that's fucking rough.
Yeah.
But that's like really the only one I feel like. There's not too many like groaners.
This is what happens when you give Letty more lines.
Yeah, that one is like on top of just being like lame, edgy, like, ooh, she called him a pussy. I also just don't understand even the setup. Like, what is Team Muscle? Is that like
muscle cars, I think.
But like, that's not a phrase that I've ever heard uttered in anything. Yeah. So like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think she had amnesia, and so she wasn't thinking straight.
Yes,
and she
true.
thought that was a thing that people said.
Maybe. But
that's my only.
Now that we're almost caught up on these, I'm really excited to get to the end for both of us to attempt to rank them.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be somewhat challenging, but definitely fun. Like I'm looking forward to trying to do that.
Yeah, there's a couple where they're like pretty like even, where it's like I don't know how I would like break those ones up. There's ones that like are like, you know, like the first one's just far and away the best.
Like no contest.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to do. We only have two left. Yep. 2 left. And then 2 more after that when they come out in theaters.
2 years apart, so we'll be old as fuck when we come back for the last one.
So, Chris, I like that they added Vin Diesel's son into this one.
The theater's too loud.
Oh, we're going to do this till we die. If you like this, then hit subscribe right down there and you can check out patreon.com/alien happy hour if you want to, like, you know, toss us a couple bucks and help us support. But most importantly, hit subscribe. Do that right over there. And this has been Fast and the Curious. If for some reason you jumped in first on this one, we have all the previous movies on the playlists and all that stuff. So you could check it out there and go on the little adventure journey through the Fast and the Furious universe with us. Anything else you need to say?
Gina Carano's heel turn was pointless.
Yes. So thanks for watching, and we will be back with Curious 7. Curious 7.